Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to be going over the three structural layers of your natural hair and what it means for your constantly dry hair. Now, this lesson, it is the basic, like the very basic of black hair science. So you want to pay attention here in this lesson because this lesson will answer a lot of the questions that you have about your hair and why your hair behaves the way it does. So listen, take notes, and get rid of any distraction that might distract you from getting the most out of today's lesson. Alright, so let me just quickly go over one term that I'm going to be using all throughout this course, and that is hair shaft. Hair shaft, it is simply this strand of hair that you come in contact with hair every day, and it is the hair that you see with your physical eye, like with your naked eye. So hair shaft is pretty much the hair that you currently see right now on your head. It is the individual hair piece, hair strand that you see every day, that falls off, that breaks off, that hair. That's what we call a hair shaft. Alright, so the three structural layers, what are they and why should I care really? So the three structural layers are the medulla, the cortex, and the cuticle. So let me go through each in more detail. So I'm going to be going over the structure and their function and why you should really care. So the first layer, so showing you what the layers look like scientifically. So this is the hair shaft, the whole thing. That's the hair shaft. So the innermost layer is the medulla. The layer after that is the cortex, and then the layer after that, the outermost layer is the cuticle. So uh, what does it mean really? So the innermost layer, right? Alright, so the innermost layer, that is the medulla, that you can see here, that it's very tiny. So this layer, one thing you should keep in mind is that this layer, it is quite unique actually, because it is only found in coarse hair. Now in the next module when we talk about hair typing, I'm going to be going into more detail about coarse hair, fine hair, and whatnot. So but for now, just keep in mind that if you have fine hair, chances are that you do not have this medulla layer. So this medulla layer, it is only found in medium to thick hair, and so that's why medium to thick hair, they are usually much stronger than fine hair. So medulla, what do they do, and really why should anybody care? So medulla, based on my research, I found out that they don't really have a significant function. The only thing is that they provide strength, right, to thick hair, right? Because obviously, thick hair, you have three layers, whereas with fine hair, they are lacking one layer, so they only have, two layers. All right, so let's go to the next structure. So the next structure here will be the cortex, right? The cortex. Now the cortex, it is so important, but for some reason nobody ever talks about them, right? And the reason is what? Because it is the innermost layer. You don't see it, you can't really, like you can see, you can touch it, right? But the cortex, it forms our hair's basic structure, right? So, meaning, if we're gonna have thick hair, fine hair, whatnot, right? And the reason for that is because the cortex makes up about 80 to 90% of the hair fiber, right? As you can see, right, the cortex, it is, it goes from here to here pretty much, right? The cortex, it is so large. Like it takes up, pretty much most of your hair fiber. Now the cortex, what do they do and how come nobody talks about them? So the cortex, they're actually quite key, like they're actually quite important. And the reason for that is because they provide our hair with strength. So it doesn't matter if you have fine hair, coarse hair, whatever, but cortex will make sure that whenever you comb your hair would not just break off like that, right? Because each individual hair strand is actually very fragile. Doesn't matter if you have fine hair or coarse hair. But cortex ensures that when you detangle or whatever, your hair would actually stay in place and not just break off. And Also, one key thing about the cortex is that they provide our hair with texture and also with color. So if you're going to have blonde hair, brown hair, red hair, black hair, whatever, the cortex will be responsible for that. And also the cortex will be responsible for the texture of your hair as well. Meaning, whatever, if you're going to have curly hair or whatnot. So that's, the cortex would determine that. Alright, so the third structural layer will be the cuticle, like the ever so popular cuticle. So you're wondering, okay, what are they and really why are they so popular? So the cuticle, it is the outermost layer of the hair shaft, and it has about 6 to 11 overlapping scale-like cells, right? That is very similar to the shingles on the roof. So these scales, right? The scales that you see here, they are your cuticles, and the reason why they are so popular is because it is the only layer that you deal with every single day, right? So whenever you apply products on your hair, you wash your hair, you do pre-poo, you do whatever it is, you are actually putting products on the cuticles, and whenever you comb through your hair as well, you are also chipping through and combing through cuticle. And in the next lesson, when I talk about cuticle degradation, I'm going to be talking about pretty much how anything you do to your hair, any manipulation or anything affects the health of the cuticles, right? All right, so the cuticle, what do they do, and really, like, what's the big deal? So the cuticle, it provides our hair with a protective barrier, right? Because it protects the cortex, which makes up, remember, it makes up to 90% of your hair fiber. It determines your hair color, texture, everything, right? And so the cuticle pretty much wraps around the inner layer, the cortex, right? And it prevents it against any mechanical damage, chemical damage, environmental damage, or whatnot, right? So the cuticle, it's almost like a skin, right? Because your skin protects, like your flesh, your blood, your bones, or whatever, right? So the cuticle is almost like that, like it protects the cortex. So that's why we have so many layers, right? Because your hair obviously will go through, like so many different things. So that's why the cuticle has so many layers, right? To protect the cortex. All right. So if you have any question regarding this lesson, regarding the three structural layers, their function and what they do, or if you just have any question in general, drop it in the comment section below. And if you found any value in this course, if you can just send your friends over to this course so that they can also come and enroll in this course and learn what you just learned right now. All right. So in the next lesson, I'm going to be going over cuticle degradation and how the health of your cuticles affects moisture retention. All right, so take care, and I will see you in the next lesson.